Here we go. We're moving goalposts. We are back. We are back after a very eventful weekend on the college football.
Eventful.
On the college football front. I started my day, Amanda. Well, I started my day feeling the effects of a Friday night in Chicago at a bar that was, I'm looking up the name of it. It's called the bar is called Goodnight John Boy. And it was a really cool Chicago bar. And I woke up feeling the effects of that. Rode to South Bend, and on the way was watching. I was not feeling well, so I wasn't real talkative to everyone. And I was watching you and a lot of other Longhorns tweet through it without really being able to track the score. And then,
it's a game you didn't want to watch, honestly. It was not, it just wasn't good football at the end of the day.
And then went to South Bend and watched what, after a day and a half, 2 days to kind of think about it, I would say a top five fun game to watch and cover of since I've been doing this, and a top five play, I think, in A&M history. You just don't get many essentially walk off 4th and 11, throw it up, terrific catch in the end zone against a team as high profile as Notre Dame on national TV on a Saturday night with the college football world watching. It was electric. It was as good as
I can imagine being there as well, just being in the crowd for that.
It was as good as college sports gets. And I know, like, Ohio State fans experienced that last year at the Cotton Bowl. You and I were in attendance. Texas fans experienced it the week before with that shocker against Arizona State. I know Peyton was there, and everyone I knew that was there.
I think I probably would have had an actual heart attack if I was physically I think it would have not been good for my health.
So those type of games, it's crazy now too, by the way, because people wear their whoops and stuff or their aura rings.
I did it during Ohio State, and mine went from like resting at 60 to 150 in like a minute.
You know, it's weird. I was calm throughout this A&M game. And, you know, at the beginning, I was sitting there going, man, this is not good. But Marcel Reed and Amanda, you talked about this offseason. You thought he'd be as good as the skill position guys around him. And they were all really good.
You knew you had Moss, but you didn't know what else you really had or what else you were really getting. So it was kind of an unknown going into it. But I think there's a lot of schools in the country that would trade up for Casey Concepcion and Craver at this point. I know for certain I would trade up for some, not even those specific guys, just what seems like the cohesiveness and just how well they're working together right now, because I think that's when you look at Texas and it's very sorely missed. All of these players are talented individually. We've seen them be talented, but there's just a major lack of connection and cohesiveness that is going to be very, very detrimental when you head into conference play.
Well, we're going to dive into all of this, and we're going to have a fun show today because we got a lot to talk about. Just like we did after, the Longhorns in Ohio State. And, some people are watching and they're going, my man Liucci has had a rough go of it, battling it out with Amanda for the last 3 months. And he's finally got some ammo, maybe not directly at you, unfortunately, because you kind of just,
I'm careful.
You're careful. We do have something fun at the end. It's not, it's I love it. It's great. But yeah, we don't have a lot, but there are some interesting conversations to be had about this summer and how it went for your boy over here on social media and with some things I said that, interestingly enough, now a lot of people are starting to acknowledge that don't wear maroon. But I want to go, that's all for our fun stuff later. But we need to break down these games. It was a big weekend for A&M. Texas is
We also
trying.
need to shout out to our sponsor.
Yeah.
I have that in the notes. Shout out to our sponsor before we get distracted.
Well, we got distracted. La Casa,
So
I needed
La Casa.
it. I needed. Thank you to our sponsors at La Casa Tequila. I needed it this weekend. I don't know what the tequila was.
You didn't pack any?
I didn't pack any, and I don't know what kind of tequila it was I drank, but
wasn't nearly as good.
It did not sit well with me. No. And so I was sitting there going, La Casa.
It's a rookie mistake.
It was a rookie move. Like La Casa tastes better. I don't think I could have smuggled it into the bar though, but I know the bar owner now, and I may have to send him a little message and connect him with our guy Drake down there at La Casa and that crew and get it maybe into some bars in Chicago. Okay. So with La Casa Tequila sponsoring this episode, we are very excited to discuss. I guess let's start it out with the big story of the weekend. Not just
the good football, the actual good football we got to watch this weekend.
And I want to start out with I really can't wait to dive into your thoughts on it. You and I texted a little bit during the game, like we tend to do, and it was. It was just up and down, back and forth, just a damn roller coaster. And then there was a lot of emotion. You saw it like with Bryce Anderson suffering that scary injury, and then Marcel got hurt. And
is he okay, by the way?
Yes, Bryce should be fine, and that was the best news coming out of the night. A close second, of course, was Texas A&M. Amanda, like you and I have talked about this all year, and we say it in jest, like. We needed that win for me and for like our banner on the show. But the reality was Texas A&M football needed a win like this. Mike Elko, to build what he's trying to build, needed a win like this. Marcel Reed, I mean, he needed it because the team needed it. But I thought all offseason that Marcel was going to be a significantly improved quarterback. And I thought it because I've watched him in camp. I thought it because I believe those weapons were absolutely legit because you had tape and production of them at other places. And since they got here, it's all everyone I talked to have been talking about. And like you said earlier, the running backs were constants. The O-line returned a ton. It felt like this thing, second year in an OC, last year it was all new. It felt like everything about this thing felt like it was going to be better, but you just don't know until you test it against somebody real. And they hadn't got the chance to do that yet. And they did. And, 41 points. Notre Dame's probably lucky. The Aggies, they had almost 500 yards. They're probably lucky they didn't have 700. If there's one thing that Marcel didn't do is he missed a couple of like home run shots that would have been touchdowns. Otherwise, he was outstanding. One of the best quarterback performances we've seen in college football through 3 weeks. Craver with the best receiving performance we've seen all year through 3 weeks. You mentioned, both of them, he and Concepcion.
I honestly didn't really notice Craver as much in the first 2 games. I mean, in my defense, I didn't watch the first 2 games super closely because one of them I was at Texas game. They were at the same time. But I was very impressed with him, especially with that first run. That was probably one of the coolest runs I've seen. Probably the coolest run I've seen this year in college football, where he did the little spin move on the sideline and kept going. Yeah. What a way to start a game.
Yeah, well, and what a way to start it by getting a punt block for a touchdown. And then to come back with that and
just this up and down of emotions, just like insanity.
It was like at halftime A&M was up 24-21, and I'm walking around. The Notre Dame fans looked like they were getting beat by 30. It was the weirdest thing. And then they just immediately took the lead again.
They didn't expect to have that happen at home. Like, I mean, not to be rude or anything, but they probably expected to walk in there and just walk all over A&M. Probably based on how A&M ended the season last season, which isn't really fair. It's not, it's obviously a much improved team, but they probably just expected to walk in there and walk all over it. And that obviously was not the case, especially with Marcus Freeman coming off of the loss that he did. I'm sure fans had the expectation, they're going to be extra ready and they're going to be extra hungry to win this game, but I don't think they had a grasp on exactly the type of opponent they were facing in this. I mean, I feel like there was just a lot of unknowns heading into the season with A&M, as there were a lot of teams. But now you're finding out that those tools are actually there and they're much improved from last season.
Yeah, it's a great point. Also, they had that bye week, but there's a benefit to playing a couple bad teams in a row to start the season too, which was A&M didn't have to show much of anything. So what Notre Dame got in terms of, I think, the passing game and the offense in general, look, Le'Veon Moss carried it 20 times Saturday night. He ran it 3 times in game 1, 10 times in game 2. They were building up for this. They were setting things up. You know, on that long touchdown by Craver, the defensive back bites hard on the screen. He thinks they're throwing a screen to Craver, and then he leaks out. That was set up against UTSA. So there was a lot that went into that. But I think, Amanda, just putting this real simply, and I said this last week a lot, and I think I said it with you too when we were in here. The Aggies had an advantage, I felt, at quarterback in Reed versus C.J. Carr, who was making his second career start, and he played well. So they had an advantage at quarterback. They had an advantage at playmaker. They did not have those advantages last year. They did Saturday. I didn't think Notre Dame could cover these two guys. And then from there, it was like, could A&M get a push when it came to the physicality, the run game, the front seven, the line of scrimmage? And the answer is yes. 8 tackles for loss for the Aggies, 2 for Notre Dame. Pretty much even when you look at Moss v. Jeremiah Love and when you look at the 2 run games. So they could push there, but then they had the dynamic playmakers, and that was the difference. So, but they had to finish it, and they hadn't done that enough lately. They couldn't do that against Auburn. They didn't do it against USC. They really haven't done it historically at A&M with only a few exceptions. So this was a big win, I think, for the culture and the mindset of the program that Elko's trying to build.
I gotta say, I loved how I was watching Casey Smith at Cosm in Dallas and her celebrations. It was so funny. I don't know if I've ever seen her that happy about anything really in the time that I've been following her. So very happy for her.
Well, I think she represented all Aggies, as you know. Like, it's, you know, we joke about it, like, this whole offseason is like, hey, I don't have any ammo. We don't. I would joke that it's a lopsided, not a fair fight, and it's because of not just last year, but you know, the end of the Jimbo tenure, and then going back. This win doesn't like change anything. It can start to change things.
Yeah,
it could just be a blip and a fun Saturday, but I think because of kind of the weapons you saw, I think this is a really good A&M team that they need to improve defensively, and we'll talk about that in our good, bad, and ugly. But I think they have it in them, but I think this offense is what it is, and I think it's going to be really difficult to stop because they can beat you running, they can beat you throwing, they can beat you with screens and letting guys run after catch. They've got tight ends that can catch, and they've got home run threats. And oh, by the way, they have a quarterback that's not only mobile, but they have a dual threat guy that, Amanda, you watch that game closely. So in 3 of A&M's last 4 games against Power 5 teams, he has led A&M to a go-ahead score in the final 3 minutes of the game. 2 of those, the defense couldn't hold it. But when he came off the field, he had led them to like the game-winning score. So 3 of his last 4, he's done that. And obviously we know the 4th there. And if you go back to LSU and what he did coming off the bench, he's really been pretty spectacular in 4 of the last 6 games. And the 2 he wasn't, by the way, he did not have Le'Veon Moss. And he certainly didn't have weapons like Concepcion and Craver. So there's a lot to be excited about. But damn, it is a long season in the SEC, not just for the Aggies, but also for your Texas Longhorns. So let's dive into that.
Yeah, and I was gonna compare Like this win for A&M feels a lot like Texas's win at Alabama. Like I
Yeah.
feel like Texas was coming off of a very similar time in their just extended period of just being very painfully mid.
Hmm.
And like this was we actually might have something going here, Winton. And I feel this feels very similar to that because on the road against that level of an opponent, just incredible win. But obviously, like you said, long season ahead. You have LSU on the road later this year, but I don't know. Nussmeier's looking a little bit more beatable. So
Yeah, I want to get to that later too. There's a lot of interesting stuff happening with both our schedules as you look at it today. It seems to change each week, and I think that's going to be the case all year. Let's just rip through since we're on it, let's do good, bad, and ugly, A&M, and then go into the Longhorns. Look, for me, the good, there's just too much. I talked about a lot of it just now. So, look, getting a massive road win this early, I think this is going to age very well. I think Notre Dame, I don't think they've got quit in them, and they've got a very easy schedule. I think they could win out. Maybe they lose one more, go 9-3.
I haven't looked at their schedule. Let me see.
It's
Yeah,
USC. It's not very daunting. USC is a tough one. They do
no.
have to go to Arkansas. Don't rule that out because this Arkansas offense
Yeah.
can score too.
I haven't watched enough Arkansas. Oh yeah, the rest of their schedule not great.
Yeah, so I
Big
think
tough.
it's
And they
gonna.
complain about our schedules. Come on.
Well, every year people make fun
That's
of Notre Dame's schedule.
yeah.
Look, the good was explosive playmakers, 41 points, game-winning drive. I mean, what a play by Nate Borkature to win the football game. He's a transfer portal addition from Nebraska that no one was really talking about when he came in. All he just did was go win you a game at Notre Dame with a pretty sensational catch for a 250-pounder. I thought Randy Bond, 2 clutch field goals in the second half on the road in that environment that they had to have. Everything about the offense falls under the good, especially I'll give a lot of credit to Colin Klein. And Amanda, you have given me more grief than anyone about a certain goal line stand last year. And the Aggies had the ball 3 times down there inside like the 2-yard line where you knew you had to score touchdowns. You knew how the game was going. And Le'Veon Moss punched it in all 3 times. So that's not just a Klein thing. That's hey, we remember what happened last year, the O-line. Le'Veon
It
was
also helps you have Le'Veon Moss this year.
for sure.
So that's a difference maker in that category.
So those were the good. The bad, I don't think there was anything ugly about this one because it's like, enjoy it. I saw, you mentioned that Alabama game and that win by Texas. I remember A&M going and beating Alabama in 2012 and knocking off number 1. It's really been like that long, and we're in 2025 now, since I've just seen so many Aggies leaving a stadium so happy. They've had some big wins, but most of them have been at home. I think all but one of them really. Maybe the Orange Bowl back in. It's like 2012 was the last time I truly saw this on the road. So nothing ugly to pick this week, but bad, I'll say. A lot of penalties, 13 of them.
Oh,
13 penalties.
That's Texas level bad penalties.
And a lot of pre-snap.
Yeah, Notre Dame's sitting here complaining about that holding call. I mean, we have something about that a little bit later. I am the queen of, you need to maybe make your extra point and not talk about how a holding call ruined the game for you or lost you the game. You bumbling an extra point lost you a game. You letting a team run down your throat in the last 2 minutes lost you the game.
Yeah.
You got to do the stuff you need to do instead of whining about a holding call. Yes, I think anybody will say it was a missed holding call.
Oh, for sure.
I understand they're upset about that. Anybody would be, but get offline. Stop complaining about it. Move on.
Yeah. They're not changing it. And I'll tell you what, and as an Aggie who I think the streak was like, I don't think an opposing team has been called for holding against an A&M defensive lineman out of Power 5 opponents for like 9 games. It's something crazy.
I can't fact check you on that, but
but if
the
you
word wink wink.
no, if you did, it is insane, the streak. Maybe it was broken this week at Notre Dame. Maybe they called one. I don't remember. But it's like nothing you've ever heard of, that Texas A&M defensive players have not been a victim of an offensive hold. Like, we'll look it up and kind of maybe post it as a statistic. It's insane. So if the Aggies get away with a hold, and by the way, I think they got away with 2 on that drive on Reed's scramble. I thought there was a blatant one too. It was right in front of me. Marcel ran off and said something to me on the end of they was going around Twitter today. People are like, what'd you say to him? I said, well, I just said, just take a few plays to score, make it more dramatic. And that's exactly what he did. Of course, I didn't say that. I was probably like, why did you keep running? But so, yeah, I think the bad was that. And then the defense, it's an interesting breakdown. And I'll keep this to a couple sentences here. They made more good defensive plays in this game than they did in the 2 games against inferior opposition. They had 8 tackles behind the line in Notre Dame's 2. They created a turnover. I think both teams created 1.
Interception.
They had 2 fourth down stops, including one sensational one against a great running back. So I think they did as much defensively as Notre Dame did. And if you'd have told me that coming in, and if you'd have told me they would have contained Jeremiah Love, 23 carries for 94 yards, that's right at 4 yards a carry. If you'd have told me that, I'd say sign me up all day after what I saw and what you saw. We talked about a lot this week. That's what ultimately flipped your pick, and it's what had me very nervous. Was Jeremiah Love going to run for 200?
I was very up in the air on this pick because I really liked how I did in week 1, where I picked LSU to get the monkey off their back, and I had a vibe that A&M might get the monkey off their back this one, but just got a bad feeling about those the defense. But I mean, they did what they needed to do. I think there's still room for improvement there. Like, I mean, we talked about the Texas level defense that they've had over the past 2 years, and I just wanted to look it up. Texas did not allow a team to score. I think the highest was 24 points in the regular season last year was the highest a team scored against Texas.
Yeah.
It comes to the playoffs, highest that was scored against Texas was 31 points.
Like Clemson, but that was in a rally, or was that ASU?
31 points was Arizona State. Clemson only scored 24.
Yeah, so
it's just, I feel like A&M really, this could be a really, really dangerous football team if they could hammer down just that defense a little bit more. And I mean, you know way more about it than I do, but just looking at those very, very basic level numbers, there's not a lot of teams that are not going to win a game if they're scoring 40 points on you when you go into SEC play. You do have the offense to back it up this time. It's going to look a little bit like a Big 12 game from back in the day.
And you know what's crazy? You look at Arkansas, you look at Missouri, and the way they're scoring. You look at Mississippi State. You look at Auburn's offense, although we'll talk about them in a minute. They'll get a test. You start to see some of these teams, and you go, "There's A&M's going to play a lot of offensive-oriented teams." You might see some shootouts, but one thing I know about college football period, if you play in too many shootouts, you're going to lose your fair share. I mean, you're just leaving it to chance. Just like the other night, oh, here goes a guy just dropping a snap, or you're just, or someone gets a hand on that last pass and breaks it up, or Texas doesn't convert a 4th and 14 to win. Like, you leave it to chance. And so they've got to get better defensively. And there's a team down the road, and let's talk about a team that you guys are sitting there right now saying what I said all summer.
Y'all are it's funny because, like, I don't think I've ever been this concerned after winning a football game.
Yeah. So let's talk Longhorns.
And I mean, there were a lot of unknowns going into this. And I mean, you can back me up. I was not one of the ones that was saying Arch Manning should win the Heisman going
No.
into this season. But I will say I'll encourage anybody who's just watched the games from this year and not really focused on what Arch did when he started last year. Go back and watch the Mississippi State highlights, because he struggled in the first portion of that game, but when he turned on, that he was hitting every receiver. He was hitting the deep balls. It's a completely different quarterback than what you saw on Saturday. They were able to get it done still because it was UTEP.
Yeah.
But that game's going to be disgusting if it's on the road, even against Florida. It's going to be awful if that happens in the Cotton Bowl. So the positive is it happened against UTEP. The negative is, do we know that he can get whatever this is out of his system? Because if you watch the Mississippi State game, if he's truly not injured, this is a lot of a mental thing, because you can say he's getting a lot more pressure from the O-line, because he is. I think CJ Vogel looked up a stat that he's getting more pressure than any other SEC quarterback currently. But even if he's getting that pressure, he has had these receivers wide open. It's like he's not seeing the field. But we have on the tape that he has seen the field. And I have insight from a friend who was talking to a player's parent saying these players are very confused about what they see in practice versus what is happening on the field. Because if you think about it, this team's playing against a fantastic defense in practice.
Right.
If we're super concerned about the offense, it would be because they're struggling against a really great defense. But there's just something that is not translating to performing on game day. And I don't like to sit here and make excuses for him, because at this point it's inexcusable. At this point, you got to figure something out, or you're going to end up getting pulled for Matthew Caldwell, which if it's turning out like that in SEC play, I would fully want Sark to do that. But of course, we've seen from he likes to keep the confidence in his QB1, which I understand. And I feel like I understood that when he did that last year. I feel like a lot of other Longhorns who were screaming for Arch from the sidelines last year understand why he did it now. Quinn, the one time I saw Quinn got so rattled that he really couldn't recover it from it was when Texas was playing Georgia at home.
Yeah.
That one time where I remember he got rattled. There were other times where Quinn was not doing great, but he was able to unrattle himself and get it done. Mm-hmm. Arch has not proven he can do that yet.
Well, and Arch hasn't played great yet.
He's played atrocious. Yeah. I mean, Ohio State was one thing on the road in that environment. Yeah. There's some excuses that can be made for it. First start. San Jose State, there were still some big red flags during that game, but there were some big positives. The connections with Parker Livingston, the connections with Endries. You come to UTEP, he missed, I believe it was 10 passes, 10 connections in a row against UTEP. And yes, UTEP, of all things, it is UTEP. They have a pretty solid defense. They were number 1 in sacks in the country. They were number 1 in tackles for loss in the country. But they're playing the Texas Longhorns.
Yeah.
Not playing Martin, whoever it is. They were playing the previous week
they had lost to Utah State, who A&M sleptwalked through. Yeah, I mean,
exactly.
I could see where they could throw some confusion. I always say that early in the year, these lesser teams, their goal, their whole mission is we don't have a chance unless we confuse the quarterback and the blocking schemes. That's
they probably played their best game of the year.
Yeah.
Even if they're playing their best game of the year, Texas should be beating them by 40. There's
without question.
There's no excuse for it.
I mean, like I've watched I think personally, and everybody will shout me down, I think and this isn't just the excuse, because I think it's also, I think he's hurt and he's playing through it.
I mean, that's what I've heard a lot. And at this point, it's like, it needs to be if he's hurt, sure, that's a valid excuse. If he's not hurt, there is no valid excuse, in my opinion.
Well, I also think he's hurt, but he's also not nearly as good yet as people tried to make.
I don't think he's as good as people made him out to be. People like Paul Feinbaum,
Yeah.
big talking heads that really wanted the Manning name to be really, really good without actually seeing him play incredible for a full game against an opponent with a pulse. But I do think he's better than what he's playing. I think he's a quarterback that would be, if he's playing at the level he's supposed to be playing, Texas could win out because of the defense. Wholly.
I need to see more from that O-line
If
and from
if
that receiving core.
Well, the thing is, if Texas offense can stay healthy, which was my next point,
Yeah.
which is another place where they're really struggling. Cole Hudson, the center, might be out, which would be a big loss on the O-line.
Yeah.
Also, CJ Baxter, running back number 2, out next week. Weisner, running back number 1, no update on him. Emmett Mosley.
I've heard that's at least Florida before he's back.
Wide receiver number 1, no update on him. DeAndre Moore, wide receiver, still no update on him. He did have a concussion, so he should be back before too long. And then also Xavier Filsami, I believe I'm saying his name right, might not be. Safety. He is questionable, and so is Kobe Black, questionable.
Well, you got time. You got 1 week. You got 2 weeks till you play Florida.
So the only positive you can gain from this is it's 2 weeks. I do think Sark's not throwing his bag at these games. Pretty obvious. He didn't do it last week.
Yeah.
At the same time, you don't want your fans booing you off of the field against UTEP. That's insanity.
I mean, I'm just going to say something because I caught so much shit this whole offseason. And you're a very difficult, and people don't realize this. They want me to come in here and get my revenge on you.
They don't know me. They just think I'm some stupid Longhorn who's yapping on the internet like half of our fan base does about stuff they have no idea about. And I will call the fan base out on that because a lot of them talk out their booty hole without knowing anything.
Your smack talk tends to be about what's already happened, not what's going to happen. I think you and I both picked A&M at 9-3, so it wasn't like you sat there. And you were high. Look, Texas is still a one-loss team. So, I mean, it's still too premature. But what I will say is, the amount of crap I catch, and I do it on, I do it knowing I'm going to catch. I'm not being like, oh, feel sorry for me. But it is payback time to a degree when that whole stadium is booing Arch Manning, which I think is.
He actually wasn't. I have a friend who was there. They weren't technically booing Arch. They were booing Sark's play call of not going for it. But it looked like they were booing Arch because Arch was walking off the field.
But so, that's fair.
Some of them were booing Arch. I don't know, but.
So they're booing the great Sark that everybody piled on me for saying I think he's a really good OC, but with some real flaws that people are unwilling to address. And then they're down on Arch on the same night that there's a massive contingent of Aggies in South Bend chanting Marcel Reed, Marcel Reed. I just think it's ironic, but it's also a long season. I don't think Arch is stuck in this. I never thought he was a bad quarterback. I actually thought he was going to be a very good quarterback. I just didn't think.
Still has a chance to be a very good quarterback. Sure. And also the thing is with Sark, I want to note this on you, is a coach who's a head coach that took a team to 2 straight college football playoffs still a bad head coach, or should he still be an offensive coordinator? Because if Sark gets fired at Texas, I assure you he's getting another head coaching job.
I think I don't know how to respond to that. I think first of all, I think he's a really good coach. I just think that
I think he should pass off offensive competencies to an offensive coordinator. That doesn't mean I don't think he can be a great head coach.
We're making him sound like I've read what your fans are saying, and I heard him today in the press conference, and you tweeted something about, or you liked or retweeted, I don't know if it was CJ or somebody, said something about what Sark said at the presser.
About his connection with the He's like, I feel like I'm
They're
confident about
close.
a passing game is close. And I retweeted, I said, you might be the only one.
And that's a Jimbo line that we heard here for 3 years. Now we're talking about should he focus on the head coaching thing, give up play. That was what everybody was saying about Jimbo. That is not a good place that you want to be right now.
I mean, at least Sark has already surpassed Jimbo in the success category. So
at Texas, he has not, career-wise. I mean, one of them has a national title.
But honestly, all we care about is what happens at Texas. You don't care what Jim. Are you hanging the FSU national championship on your wall because Jimbo Fisher coached at Texas A&M? I don't think you are. All we care about is what the coaches do when they're at school.
That is true. But
unless do we need to get a house tour and see the FSU Jimbo trophy somewhere?
Maybe I have them. Who knows? Who knows? Maybe
is that where did they give you the blank plaque of
I've got the blank plaque.
I've
got side-by-side pictures of Johnny's Heisman and Jameis's Heisman. I've got it all. Anything a coach did prior to coming here, I'm claiming it. No, I think that
guys, that's a joke, guys. You don't have to be mean to Billy.
What comments? Are we doing comments right now?
Well, when I'm sure this gets clipped and posted on
for sure. No, but look, I never thought Arch was. I didn't think it was going to be like this against these type teams. Like you said, the Ohio State one, it was worse than I thought, but there was so much afterwards you could look at it and explain it away. The last 2 weeks, I'm shocked by what I've seen. But the one thing I'm not shocked by, and I said this, I'm the same guy that said I don't think Quinn Ewers should be a top, your fans are getting carried away with him as a top 5 pick, with him as a Heisman finalist. But I thought he was really good. And I thought he could.
If he stayed healthy, he could have competed in those categories.
I don't think so, but I think he could have won a national title with the talent around him.
He would have at least gone third round if he hadn't ripped his oblique in half and hardly been able to throw downfield.
No, we agree. I agree on that. But I'm taking so this offseason it was about Arch, and you weren't one of them. You were kind of the preach caution.
Yeah, tell your fans that again, because I already know what the Tex Ags board is going to look like right now.
You said third team all conference.
I said that purely knowing not what we had Marcel coming off of losing how many straight? We had no idea what anything else would look like. Right now, Arch does not deserve a sniff at a CC all-team anything.
Well, here's what I mean by all of that. I just thought, and I said this a million times, I thought Texas lost too much to just snap your fingers with an inexperienced quarterback to lose 4 offensive line starters and have an inexperienced quarterback and lose probably his 3 best targets. To me, all of that compounded into that it's going to be hard for them to excel early in the season against good teams and maybe all year. And that was met with just an onslaught. And you were in it too. Because
I did say I think there's a lot of question marks at the O-line. I agreed with you there. I thought Arch would be a little more mobile, which would help.
I did too.
Which he has been better on. That's the only reason Texas won by the points they did last week was because he was better on his feet. What I didn't anticipate were these injuries offensively. Mm-hmm. And I think that's a factor you can't really look over when you're talking about this offense because it's ingenuous. Because when you're down Wisner and now you're down CJ Baxter.
Well, that could help take the pressure off of him.
And now you're down Emmett. Well, you've been down Emmett Mosley, the wide receiver transfer that was probably supposed to replace the likes of Matthew Golden because Wingo is still very inexperienced and they obviously can't connect. Mosley should be back before Florida. I would rather him be back next week to get some reps in, but and then this past game, they were down DeAndre Moore which is another wide receiver that actually has experience. And now they could be down a center and a couple players on defense. So you can handle these things when it's teams like UTEP. And I will say after Ohio State, one thing people were not concerned about was the O-line.
Yeah.
So it's confusing to me the regression we have seen with San Jose State and this past week against UTEP, because how are you protecting a quarterback at Ohio State, but you're struggling at home and not having a cohesive connection against these other teams, unless Sark's just testing other stuff out to see what fits best? It doesn't really make much sense to me.
There's a lot that doesn't make much sense right now watching that team. The biggest thing is, where in the hell is Colin Simmons? Because I would think he would be collecting 3-4 sacks, doing like a Cassius Howell.
I looked at that. The problem was they were getting the ball out so quickly at Utah.
They do that, yeah.
So that's where the lack of sacks was coming in. I mean, I don't know if that's a valid excuse.
No, it is. It is.
I'm not complaining about Texas's defensive performance, because even if you're not getting those sacks, as long as the points aren't being scored, then what does it matter? You're preventing them from doing what they want to do. So the defense did have a little break at the end of the game where they got a little lazy. But I mean, otherwise I don't have as many concerns. I think it's completely flip-flopped. We were talking about this before the show. I was like, what if you combine Texas's defense with A&M's offense, and you could have a national championship team easily?
This year, it'd be a laydown, because there's no team like that. So
really has it all together.
So Texas.
Well, I need to do my good, bad, and ugly.
Okay.
Roll through. If I can find one.
And I did we usually do a Billy's Texas reaction. That was it. We just talked it through.
But the good, I actually do have some good to pull from this game. I did put at the beginning of this, not much, with 15 exclamation points. Nibble it. We actually saw some punt returns that were successful and went for a good distance. We hadn't seen any of those. We were a little bit questionable on those from the past 2 games. So it's good to know you have a returner that can put some yards up. Bomeister punting got back in his rhythm of really punting very, very well and sticking teams deep. I think when you have an offense that's struggling, that's going to be pretty important. Throughout the season. Like I said, the Michael Dixon is the only reason a 5-win Texas team was not a 3-win Texas team. So Shipley, the kicker, which we love the name Shipley in Austin. It's funny that he's a kicker, but he's been doing great. Much more consistent than poor old Bert Auburn, who I believe lost the starting job at Miami. Fortunately, he was great in 2023. Not really sure. Maybe he rubbed his yips off on Arch. Who knows?
He shook his hand on his way out.
My God. Bad. I would say O-line protection right now. Pretty bad. The run game was pretty bad last game. I think we can attribute that to losing CJ Baxter very early in that game, being down Wisner. We did get to see a little bit more Christian Clark, which I like, and I feel like he did pretty well. And then you want to know who the leader was for Texas rushing?
No. Yes, I don't know.
No, you don't want to know. Okay, I'll just F off.
I do want to know. I don't know who it was. Who was it?
James Simon. That was the rushing leader. So he got some reps. He's from Shreveport, freshman from Shreveport, Louisiana. Good to see. He seems like he's going to be a good addition. So that's one good thing you can gather from these games, is seeing guys like that kind of stepping up when, half your running back room's on the bench injured. So good to see him step up a little bit. But Texas rushing, James Simon, number 1, Jarrett Gibson, number 2, Arch Manning, number 3. That's not a good sign of your rushing game being successful against a team like UTEP.
No.
Especially when Christian Clark's supposed to be your number 3 guy and he's rushing for 32 yards and averaging 4.6. That's not great.
You remind me right now, you sound like someone I know. His name is Billy. And you sound like, and y'all's fans.
I don't sugarcoat it as much as you do.
Probably.
You're like, well. it'll be okay.
Well-
but they did this that was really, really great. But we're still gonna beat Texas and Texas on the road. I don't know.
No, I was like, we're
Whatever
gonna
you
beat
sound
y'all
like.
at Kyle Field. That's what it was.
I'm noting this now. We're gonna beat you in Kyle Field, and then maybe just don't fire off tweets like that. Don't. What is it? The hatch the chickens one.
I'm just happy this week, Amanda. You can do these voices. I've been waiting for this week's episode forever. And I mean, I think it's funny. It's you're talking about the punters and the kickers and the fifth string running backs that from Shreveport, and it's like I've been there. But the thing is that I also know.
I'm talking about them against a game like UTEP.
I know,
you wouldn't put your fifth string running back in against UTEP ever.
But I'm saying that's where y'all are having to draw your optimism from and stuff. Like Emmett Mosley, I don't think is going to come in and change the world for this offense. I think the problems run far deeper. But I also am sitting there, I'm laughing about it because I can be in a good mood, because of where A&M is for this week. I think if anyone across the street over here is naive enough to think that game means you've arrived and that, like, I think you have set yourself up to achieve more than what people think by winning that. But I also don't think Texas is like some written off in the tank thing. That's coming more from like not you, but the Texas side. So I'm kind of laughing about that too.
The house is on fire right now, and there is no firefighters on the way.
Yeah, and I don't believe that. I don't believe that because, like you said, with that defense, I think it'll get better. But I do think it has to get better quickly because here's the thing about. You mentioned the Alabama game for Texas, right? When A&M wins that game against Notre Dame, it can certainly springboard you. Doesn't mean it will, but it can certainly change just the mood, the culture.
Texas went on to lose to OU that year too. But I mean, you won the Big 12. You lost a shootout in the Red River rivalry that you shouldn't have lost. I think that was Quinn's worst game of the year.
Yeah.
Game you should have not lost. But I mean, you still go on and I believe we won the Big 12 championship that year.
So speaking of Red River, right? Texas got to get it together quickly because when your hopes and aspirations, and I think fairly, because look, all shade aside, and sorry, I'm talking about him earlier, but when you've been to 2 straight semifinals and you return the roster you're returning, even with the NFL losses, it is very fair to have an expectation if you're Texas, you're Ohio State, you're Georgia, to win a national title, to win an SEC title. So when that's your expectation, they've got to get it right quickly because if you go to the swamp and lay an egg to DJ Lagway and those 5
interceptions.
5.
My God. I mean, if he's throwing 5 interceptions against LSU, what's it going to look like against Texas?
So that part of it right there, if you go in there and because Florida does have a good defense. If you look at the last 2 games they've lost, both teams, LSU scored 20, including a pick 6, so their offense produced 13, and I think South Florida had 16 or 18 points. So they got defense still. That game, but especially going up to Norman. And I think we're going to learn a lot about.
Going up to Norman.
Oh, I'm sorry. Yeah, Dallas. Auburn's going up to Norman this weekend, which I think we'll learn a lot about OU this weekend. But my point is.
I still don't feel like we know enough about OU based on who they've played. The Michigan game helped a little bit, but we also don't know how good Michigan is.
I just think Texas has got to get it together very quickly. And this is kind of. I don't think that's going to happen against Sam Houston. I think that has to happen in the swamp against Florida. That's where I'm at.
I will say I do like going into Texas OU weekend with Norman really, really cocky, really, really high because.
So you want them to beat Auburn?
I don't know. Because I would rather us be the trap game than Auburn be the trap game.
True. Well, that would be you them beating Auburn, right?
Yeah, maybe beat Auburn, but have it be close.
I'd love to see them beat the brakes off of Auburn because Auburn's coming here next. Why don't we dive into that stuff before we have our fun here at the end.
I didn't do my ugly quite yet.
What's the ugly? I feel
Well,
like
I mean, maybe I already went into the ugly.
You
QB play
probably
and injuries.
have.
Yeah, we don't need to go into that anymore.
I was like, there's been a lot. All
I
right.
already reeled through all the injuries. But yeah, with the injuries, one more note on that. All of these injuries I'm mentioning, none of them seem to be long term. They have not said to be season ending.
Yeah.
Of them are just flesh wounds at this point. The one that might be a little more extensive is Jonah Williams. But I mean, he's not one that we know will extensively contribute as it
Yeah.
is. But Wisner coming back, I think will be absolutely critical for Texas. That's the biggest get back in the running back room. And then CJ Baxter, of course, and Cole Hudson. God, we need him.
Yeah. And
So-
for the Aggies, their big injury concern, and you're going into a bye week, so you hope you can get everybody healthy. Marcel played hurt. You know, we know he was hurt in that Utah State game, left the game, then took a couple of
He
big.
didn't look hurt.
Yeah, and I know that's even more of a feather for him, right? Then took a couple big shots against Notre Dame. I think he desperately needed that bye week. Look, Nussmeier's already banged up. Marcel took some shots. Lenora Sellers got knocked out of that game. People are wondering about Arch and his shot. Football is you played soccer. It's a rough sport. Football's even rougher. Like, guys get hurt.
At least don't get pads.
That's true. But let's go into, so you guys
Do you
have.
want to do my reaction to A&M's game?
Yeah, let's hear that.
Okay, so I'll give you my reaction to the A&M game.
Okay.
I gotta be real with you. I did not watch the entire thing. I missed like the midsection because I was driving back from Frisco.
You know enough.
But I watched the beginning and I gotta watch the end.
Okay, so start, all right, go, but just be like, just start into it like you're.
Okay.
Yeah.
So my take on the A&M game, just after watching what I did of it, I didn't get to watch the entire thing, but I got to watch the beginning and I got to watch the end. And obviously the end was the most exciting part of it.
Yeah.
First note is just incredible offensive firepower on offense. And I think the offense has found their identity, which is one thing that I feel like that's what you have to do in these first couple games before conference play is find your identity as an offense. And that is one thing that Texas has definitely not done that A&M has clearly done. I think they've found their identity. They have their workflow with who's good and what's successful. And that's critical going into conference play.
Yeah.
Currently, I think they are the dark horse offense in the SEC from what everybody assumed preseason, because I don't think there were a lot of people that were super high on A&M's offense going into the season. Mm-hmm. And now that you've seen it all put together, personally, everybody was all hype on OU going into the preseason. I'd rather have Marcel Reed and the people around him than Mateer and the people around him right now.
Very interesting. That would start a fun debate if you said that around like just a room full of SEC people, because I think a week ago they'd have laughed at you and me, and now I think it would be a really spirited debate. So I'm really interested in you saying that.
Mateer might be a slightly better quarterback. I still haven't seen enough from him to really say that or not.
Yeah.
But I just think the tools that Marcel has around him are better and more explosive. And I mean, that could change. But as of now, that's my opinion on that.
Yep.
And then my last takeaway, we've already talked about this. Defense needs some work. You can't be giving up 40 points in the SEC and expect to win games.
For sure.
And maybe that won't be the case. I'm sure Elko has a plan to work on that, but that is my takeaway from that game. It was a great game. It was fun to watch. It's what college football is all about. And I mean, I enjoyed watching it even as a Longhorn there's a lot of Longhorns out there that are probably like, A&M won, worst day ever. I only hate my life when OU wins a really good game.
All right.
Good for you. Y'all deserve some happiness.
I'll end all of our this past week stuff with this. I thought it was the most gorgeous campus I've been to.
I haven't been. I'd love to go sometime.
Yeah, it was a great road trip. But don't y'all have Notre Dame an upcoming home and home?
I think we do. Next year we have Ohio State again at home. And then I think after that it's Notre Dame. And then we have Michigan at home.
Michigan one more, yeah. But
Yeah.
like to me, like you have to go there. Everything about it lived up to the hype and then some. I had a great couple days in Chicago, got to go visit Barstool and stuff, see that whole operation, which is just fascinating to watch and just fun kind of doing what we've done on our scale, kind of along that same timeline if you go back to it. But seeing, theirs is just like, it's just to scale, it's like here's Barstool in the whole country and stuff. And
Yeah.
it's just, it was really cool to see and everybody was great. Chicago was a blast, went to the Cubs game and then went to South Bend and saw a classic, saw Touchdown Jesus, saw the Golden Dome, saw the Grotto. I love their fight song. It's amazing. And saw Lou
I love their
Holtz.
helmets. I
Love
think
their,
Longhorn fans will hate me for this, but they have my favorite helmets in college football. I just
man,
love them.
it was
I mean, I love
cool.
our helmets too. I think they're classic, but they're just so cool. You
When
immediately know
you
the
see
point
them
when you.
come out and all those gold helmets come out of the tunnel, it's like, damn, this is just it's college football. It's amazing. And it
Yeah.
was a little bit cooler of a night. It felt like fall. Awesome. Everything about it, check.
All right, let's
It was a
cruise
wild
through the
week.
next part because I got to get some dinner in
Me
my
too.
system.
Me too. Okay. Let's roll through. Okay, we've talked a lot about upcoming schedule. We talked about Texas upcoming schedule. Let's talk about A&M here. Bye week, then Auburn. After Auburn plays,
Is Auburn home or away?
it's at home. So their next three, Amanda, are at home after a bye.
That's
So
nice.
this was why I thought Notre Dame was so vitally important. So now you're going into a bye after a win versus a loss. No one's complaining. You're not reading social media.
Just can't come out sleepy.
No, you cannot. So Auburn, though, has to go to Norman, which is going to be a very physical game.
Yeah.
It's Jackson Arnold's return. It's emotional.
Ooh, that's a ooh.
Then you got an
Wait, I'm going to be in France this weekend. I can't even watch all these games.
yeah. See, that's going to be a good one.
I do have a very funny TikTok that I plan on doing that I'm going to need people to go watch. I don't know if I should give it away.
Don't give it away.
A couple, huh?
Don't give it away. You're going to do that SEC in France thing?
Just in the water. Like South France is beautiful, but it's not the SEC. They don't know anything about the SEC.
Yeah, you do need to do that.
It's my favorite thing ever.
It's pretty good right now. The TikTok, did you see the Aggies celebrating in the end zone? And the one kid did the fighting. Tristan Jernigan did the fighting Irish. It was awesome.
I can't say I follow the Texas A&M.
I'm going to send it to you. They're dancing. They're doing like an Irish dance in the end zone where the Notre Dame fans are. And then one of the coaches was like, come over here. And they all start running off. And the last guy turns to him and he does the little leprechaun pose to their fans. It was there.
I mean, that's harmless taunting. It's fine.
Yeah, it was. So anyway, going back to and then A&M gets Mississippi State at home, and then they get Florida at home after Florida plays South Florida, LSU, Miami, and Texas. So the schedule sets up in the next few weeks very nicely.
Yeah, and who has the easy schedule this year?
Well, that's my next.
Well,
when I say that, I'm like, let's change the subject.
yeah.
Because I'll say this, the Texas schedule, right? All of a sudden, when you look at like what we thought they were before the season. So OU last week beats Michigan.
Not so fun now.
Yeah. OU beats Michigan. A&M goes on the road and beats Notre Dame. Vandy goes on the road and pummels South Carolina.
I didn't see them score
30, I think 30-7. They knocked Sellers out of the game. Diego Pavia, they're real. They're a real team.
I mean, Pavia, that little Rottweiler, man, he'll get you.
And Mississippi State, by the way, who we both play, is a lot better. You know why? Because they can score some damn points. And it's away,
so the cowbell, your favorite thing.
Yeah, I know. I will tell you, Texas' schedule looks tougher. A&M's does too, because there's another team named Missouri that people are very high on right now. They're scoring points by the thousands, it seems like. Okay, so going through the SEC real quick. Tennessee, Georgia, instant classic. Gunnar Stockton, Amanda, way better than I thought. You and I were talking about this one during the game. I did not think he could do that with his arm against a good team, and he did.
That's crazy.
They win in there. Kirby Smart just owns Tennessee. He owns them. They had that game won. That was a brutal setback for Josh
Brutal
Heupel
loss
and
for
his team.
Tennessee. Not in the SEC, but that Clemson Georgia Tech game.
Haynes King.
That was one of the most. I mean, the A&M game end was insane. This was the most insane end to a game I've seen this year. Did you watch it?
No, I was following it. While everybody was.
It's like they don't have a timeout.
Yeah.
30 seconds on the clock. They have to get this kickoff on 4th down. They're rushing. They did a fire drill, I guess is what it's called.
Fire drill.
Rush the kicking team onto the field. I think it was like a 45-yard kick.
I think it was 50 plus. I think it was 51, maybe 51, maybe.
It might have been. Let's see. Georgia Tech Clemson kick. I want to get that right. It was walk-off field goal. I want to get the 55-yard field goal. Yeah, can't shorten those.
Not 45. Yeah.
A little different there. Sprints onto the field, hardly gets set, and just nails it. The thing would have been good from 60.
Sometimes it's better that way. Just, that's why they ice kickers. Just no time to think about it. Go out there and do it.
That was like, I'm getting goosebumps talking about it. Like, you just love that kind of. I was just mouth on the floor with that finish. And
Amanda, Haynes King
looks a lot different than we thought they would. Texas is in a dark place right now, but there are a couple teams I could pick out that I would rather be Texas than them. One of them's Notre Dame, never good going into a season 0-2. Granted, that could easily change for them with their schedule. Another one's Clemson.
You're right.
Would not want to be Clemson right now.
Well, speaking of Clemson, because we talked about Vandy, South Carolina. I think South Carolina is not as good as people were making them out to be, and I know Sellers got knocked out of that game, but I think Vandy's way better.
Yeah.
I told you they were going to knock somebody off. I think they're going to knock a couple teams off. I don't think they're done.
I'm happy we have them at home this year.
Yeah, you're right. You're right. But speaking of Clemson, LSU, Florida, 5 picks for Lagway. People are raving about this LSU defense. I'm pushing back. I'm saying tap the damn brakes. LSU beat a bad Clemson team with a bad offense, okay? And then they beat a Florida team with a bad offense. So, yeah, Florida scored 10 against LSU. They also only managed 16 against South Florida.
Yeah.
That is a bad offensive team right now. It's a bad football team. To me, what LSU thinks they've accomplished and all this fluff about this defense, they haven't played a real offense yet. Even with Cade Klubnik, Clemson is not a real offense. They are bad offensively. So
if somebody watched this in June with you saying that, they'd be like, what?
Yeah,
Especially
so I'm like,
Arch Manning having the yips, Cade Klubnik sucking.
Tap the brakes on LSU. They scored 13 offensive points against Florida this weekend. They were at 10 at halftime against La Tech. I
think that's significant when you look at the difference between offensive and defensive points in a game like that.
I do. And okay, so moving on to our picks. Last week, guess what happened?
She came back.
She tied. She tied me. And you got the win because our rule is with the spreads. If it tie break, you get the winner. So you picked Texas, I picked Texas. I picked them to cover. So you get week 2, and I've changed the rules. The rules now.
If he's moving the goalposts, if he can't move them, he's got to move them.
I'm literally moving the goalposts. That was a bad rule that I made. So it's a
bad rule because I lost, so I got to move the goalposts.
We're going to pick 11 from now on.
This is why I made this name for this podcast.
We're going to pick 11, but it really doesn't make sense because we could still both go 5 and 6. So it really is a stupid rule. I guess we're going to stick at 10. Let's do 10 again. It's 2-1. I don't know what the total tally is. We'll keep track of that. Your bad week in week 2, you're still probably playing catch up, but you've won 2 weeks. I've won 1. Let's dive in to our picks this week. Pull out your phone.
I haven't even looked at these, man.
Pull out your phone and let's see what we got. I sent it to you.
How's our friend Nebraska doing?
Michigan at Nebraska. That's a tough one. That is the Bussin' with the Boys Bowl. I think they're both okay. I don't think either one's good. Underwood versus Raiola. Interesting quarterback battle. A couple really highly regarded guys that combined have done nothing yet. I don't know on that one.
I'm gonna go. Oh, but it's at Nebraska.
I think I'm going to go. I think I'm going
You
to
pick first this time.
Okay, go ahead.
No, I'm letting you pick
Oh,
first.
okay. I'm going to go with
You just kept on going opposite of me last time.
Well, I had to win. Well, it backfired. I'm going to go at home. I think I'm going to go with I'm going to go with Nebraska in this one.
Okay.
At home.
Michigan did put up 63 points on Central Michigan last week after that Oklahoma game.
Yeah.
I'm going with Michigan. I think they bounced back from their OU loss.
Okay. Texas Tech at
Now
Utah.
That's going to tell us a lot about Texas Tech.
Yep. On the road
This
against
is
the Utes.
First team they've played with a pulse.
Okay, let's do this. We'll alternate picks. So now you go Utah, Texas Tech. I know where I'm going with this one.
You picking Texas Tech?
Yeah, I'm going to go with the Red Raiders on the road. I just think they're going to have a little more firepower than the Utes. Although Utah's quarterback has been really good, and they always are a tough physical team. I watch A&M get drilled.
I'm going Utah.
The Utes. You're going with physicality over finesse.
Yes. And I think the Red Raiders have been riding high, but I don't trust the consistency.
Okay. Here's a tough one. I'm going to save that for last. Sam Houston at Texas. 40.5 spread. 40.5 points.
Score 40 points in a game this year? Is that physically possible?
It better be against Sam Houston.
Yeah.
I think I'm going. Oh, God.
I'm going Texas, but they're not going to cover.
I agree. I'm going to do that too. I think Texas is, it's going to be close to that. 49-7.
And if they cover, man, I will be so happy to be wrong.
49-7, Texas covers, So it's,
yeah.
And I could see that, but I'm going to go, I've picked them I think I picked them to cover a couple weeks ago and they burned me. I'm going to go with.
You know where I'm going to be when that game's being played? Sleeping peacefully in Villefranche-sur-Mer because it will be 3 a.m. my time.
Well,
so I'm
say
going to
that
put my
again.
phone not disturb. Huh?
Say that place again.
Villefranche-sur-Mer.
Villefranche-sur-Mer.
Villefranche-sur-Mer. It means, I looked it up yesterday. It means free city on the sea.
Oh, wow. It sounds very pleasant.
Yes, very excited. But I'm going to put my phone on Do Not Disturb, and I better open it to a more positive social media space than I did.
I think you will. Here's one that we know nothing about, just that one team's ranked 9 and the other's 19, I think. Illinois at Indiana, number 9 Illinois, number 19 Indiana. I'm going to tell you right now, I think I'm going to go with an upset here and go Indiana. I know Illinois. I know they ended
I can't pick Illinois, so I'm going Indiana.
That's right. So we're both. It's true. We're both. Illinois might cost you 2 picks this year.
I don't care. It's in solidarity with a good friend of mine.
Florida.
I'm a good friend if I'm not.
What about
else.
Florida at Miami? Are we both going Miami here? Yeah,
Miami.
I think that's
easy pick.
That spread looks.
No hope.
It's at the Swamp. That spread looks crazy to me. I think Miami kills them.
Yeah.
Arizona State at Baylor this week. An interesting Big 12 game.
That's an interesting one. I'm letting you pick that one first.
I'm going to pick a bounce back for Sam. I know they lost to Mississippi State. I'm going to do a bounce back game for Sam Leavitt in Arizona State. Though I'm a little nervous because Sawyer Robertson, he's been really good through 2 weeks, but I'm going to go with the visitors.
I think I'm going to go Baylor. I think it's an SEC bounce back from losing against
Baylor lost to Auburn. Arizona State lost to Mississippi State. Yeah, so they're 0-2 against the SEC.
So, but Baylor's on a bit of a high. They beat SMU in a shootout.
Okay.
Kicked the break off of Samford. I'm going Baylor.
So SMU, speaking of the ponies, at TCU. Fun one. I've
That's a
actually
fun
thought
one.
about going to one of those two games with A&M having a bye week, but SMU
Yeah.
at TCU, who you got there? TCU pretty untested. SMU played, that wild one against Baylor. TCU, blew out terrible North Carolina team.
Yeah. Has TCU really played anyone?
No.
No. Wow. Really? Nobody.
Mm-hmm.
Except that UNC game.
Yeah, nobody, aka
Classic. Classic.
nobody. Oh, who do you got there? SMU at TCU.
Going SMU.
I'm
Got to
actually.
stick to my now Dallas residents against my roots. Dallas residents versus roots. We're going with the residents right now.
I think I'm gonna go with the ponies as well. I think the quarterback. I like Hoover though. I think I'm gonna go with SMU in this one. They could have beaten Baylor there. I think they should have beaten Baylor.
Yeah.
I think they'll get one against a Big 12 team this weekend in the Iron Skillet rivalry. What about Arkansas at Memphis? I'm gonna tell you right now, I'm going against the grain here, and I think Arkansas. They left it all on the field last week against Ole Miss.
Alabama A&M?
No, against Ole Miss in that loss. Arkansas has been lighting it up offensively. I feel, but I think I'm going upset. Memphis with a win over an SEC team.
I'm going to go Arkansas.
You like Taylor Green?
I got to show you something. This is why I'm going to go Arkansas.
Oh, God.
I have a family member that is my dear great Uncle Jim. This is a Razorback bottle of vodka.
Oh. Well, if you win that game, that's a cool bottle.
I've never drank it for that reason, but we have a portion of our family that are Razorbacks.
And that's an actual Arkansas Razorback?
That is an actual Arkansas Razorback vodka bottle.
And it's red. It looks red, right?
Yes, it's red.
Yeah, you need to take a shot of that if they win you this bet this weekend.
I haven't opened it. It's a valuable item. It's from my great uncle.
I like that. I would love to partake in some of that. All right. Yeah. What do we got left? We got 2 left here. We got 3 left real quick. South Carolina at Missouri. Lenore Sellers got knocked out.
I'm going Mizzou.
I'm going to go South Carolina if Sellers is back.
Is Sellers out for...
I'm going to say this. If Sellers, can I do this? If we find out he's out later in the week, do I get to change it?
I guess I'll let you.
Okay, thank you. So I'm going to go Sellers in South Carolina. I think Missouri is getting a lot of run for beating. They beat Kansas. That's their premier win so far. That's their big name opponent.
What if Texas tried to tell you that beating Kansas was a premier win a few years ago?
I would have said you didn't get it.
Yeah.
I mean, honestly, well, too bad you didn't get that premier win.
The last year in the Big 12, they got that that premier win.
They did get it. So that's what Missouri's hanging their hat. I know they look really good offensively. I'm going to go South Carolina. That was a wild game last year. Okay, last 2. Interesting one. Tulane at Ole Miss.
Tulane's looking pretty good, right?
They are. Ole Miss.
I gotta look up these records real quick.
Ole Miss just beat. Ole Miss is 2-0 in the SEC, believe it or not, as no one else seems to have played anybody in the SEC.
Yeah,
they're sitting.
Texas has not played one single SEC.
Neither is A&M. They're sitting at 2-0, and they beat Arkansas and they beat Kentucky.
They're sitting at first place in the SEC right now.
Yeah, they beat Arkansas. They beat Kentucky. Their backup quarterback played last week and probably looked pretty incredible and took over for the starter, I think. But I'm going to go, or what are you picking? All right, I'll pick first in that one. I'm just going to tell you it's going to be an upset at the Grove. I'm going Tulane. I'm picking against these SEC teams this week. It might bite me, but I picked some pretty good ones last week. On the upset front, at least. So I'm going
Ole Miss. I'll counter you on that. I'll go Ole Miss at the Grove.
Okay.
That's one SEC school I really want to visit one day, but they're not on our schedule. So.
And then finally, Auburn at Oklahoma.
I know who you're picking.
Who am I picking?
You want Oklahoma to beat the brakes off of Auburn.
And I think it'll be a hell of a game. I think it'll be one of the better games this weekend. I'm picking Oklahoma revenge game against Jackson Arnold.
Why is that a revenge game for Oklahoma? This is a revenge game for Jackson Arnold.
That is fair. That's a good point. But I don't think he's going to
I'm going Auburn. Revenge game.
Oh, wow.
I love the name. Revenge game, Jackson Arnold. And you know what? If I lose that, I don't care. It's OU. I didn't pick OU to win.
Let's close it out, Amanda. Moving goalposts real quick. One sentence. I'm going to say one thing here. It's the Texas fans Saturday, and I saw you. There were a lot of you doing this. We miss Quinn.
I never said I missed Quinn. I was calling
you didn't say that. I'm saying I saw it from a lot of Longhorns.
Nobody appreciated Quinn. I always said that. None of you appreciated him.
You always said that.
He brought your team to 2 playoffs.
You are on record saying that. Most of the Texas fans have not.
Big Quinn apologist, and people clown me for it, and I'm like,
that is a moving goalpost though. Now to be the people that were saying, Arch for Heisman. Let's just run Jordan Rodgers
under the bus. I hate those kinds of fans.
Yeah. So
I will call them out every single day too.
I know you will. And that is moving goalposts to go. Yes. We want Quinn. We want Quinn.
I agree with that.
And it was also Aggie fans were ready to do that, by the way, this weekend too. If Marcel didn't play well, there was a certain group of them that saw Connor Wigman play well. They saw Haynes King play well, and they were going, man, if Marcel doesn't, I almost felt some of them waiting to do that. That's why I tweeted, hey, it's a big day for A&M quarterbacks. Let's go. Hopefully it continues. And it did. But, yeah, don't be calling for Quinn to come back if you were the ones that couldn't wait for him to leave.
And you saw me tweet that out. I said, if I can find a tweet of you complaining about Quinn last year, I mean, we all were frustrated with him at some points, or saying he's worse than Arch. I don't want to hear you begging for him back now.
Yeah. And then what's your move?
I was wearing his jersey till the end.
What's your moving goalpost this week? I'm going to end it with a surprise.
I didn't have a moving goalposts this week.
I mean, I'm sorry. Your retweet or delete?
Oh, my retweet or deletes. Oh, you gifted those to me today.
Well, hey, I'm going to say something real quick to the people. While you're finding them, I'm going to say this to the people. If you're an Aggie and you have been, watching and supporting me as this woman has demolished me for 8, 9 episodes with my old takes that were anywhere from ridiculously bad to seemingly bad, help me out. We don't need Amanda Atwell bad takes. I need you guys, if anybody wants to do it, Amanda can tell you it takes just a matter of minutes. She's the master at it. Go find the tweets that I have turned out to be right about. Just find me a few. We'll use them next week.
For a bit.
I don't think so. The Aggies have a bye.
At least these ones will probably be more recent, but some of your old takes were just very, very bad.
Find me those, please.
Okay.
Thank you.
No more begging. Let's get into this.
Yeah.
So I tweeted today that I haven't heard this much uproar about officiating since the targeting debacle in the Peach Bowl. Maybe don't flub an extra point and let the other team roll down the field and you have a tie game or a win. Yeah. I'd be mad too, but yeah, you had every shot. So that's about obviously the misholding call on A&M's final play.
Yep.
Which missed holding call, you've admitted it, but at the same time, my sympathy only runs so deep when you missed an extra point. And your response was complaining about officiating in a 60-minute, 150-snap game is always ridiculous. Yawn. And you know who was complaining about the officiating just real quickly after that game in November? I think it was this guy sitting right here, and we have him. This is just one of the tweets. I can pull more if I need to, but refs were brutal. Brutal. You had to say it twice.
They were brutal.
Missed INT in the second quarter and not having Moss for short yardage were killer. So brutal.
What was the other one?
This one's even better. This is from 2022, October 16th of 2022. It's after Texas beat Iowa State. I don't even remember that game at this point. Rather than listen to more of this, I'll go ahead and give you the win just like the officials did your horns yesterday.
Wow. And you didn't even pull up me talking about the targeting in Arizona State.
Oh, no. I can save that one for later.
I mean, that was a
How
terrific
are you
one.
letting me retweet or deletes mid-season? I told you I don't do these unless it's like there is
I,
solid evidence
I
that
like went just I somehow did the unthinkable after a
yeah.
Notre Dame win,
I
beating
told
Notre
you they
Dame
were
in
going to be
South Bend.
retired through the season,
You
and then you just
still
go and be one in a Christmas wrap.
That's what you call a silver platter. But I actually have one this week, Amanda. So on a week where
Yay!
the Aggies got back, why don't you guys play for Amanda our clip from this summer when she broke out her favorite quarterback's jersey for the first time?
I have my ready to go for season
Oh,
Arch
wow.
Manning
Is
jersey.
the tag still on that thing?
Yeah, a tag's still on that thing.
Might want to
Lovely
leave it.
Texas football mom ordered this for me, so it's the official team one. Very pumped about that, but figured it'd be a good thing to pull out during this segment. I am all in on Arch this year.
You might want to leave the tag on that one in case you have to return it.
Can somebody clip that and save it, and we'll put it in a video bookmark.
I will say I'm not going to be the person that's just like pull him, put somebody else in, go to the transfer portal. I'm still in on him. I did wear that jersey during the Ohio State game. I washed it. Haven't worn it again yet. So hopefully the bad juju has been washed and rinsed off. But
I thought that was good though. I said you might want to leave the tag on it, and you said I'm going to clip this and save it. Well, guess who clipped it and saved it? I did.
Look at you. But
Amanda 900, Billy 1, and it feels good. It feels great.
But I will say, if you were in the same position, you would also be very thrilled about the prospect of somebody like Arch Manning coming into your program, even if he's unproven. You'd be optimistic. Obviously, now we've been proven to be very, very false in our optimism thus far, but it's early.
It's real early, but it's getting late. We both have dinner, and you've got a trip to France. So safe travels, and somehow Amanda is going to do a show from France.
Villefranche-sur-Mer.
So we're looking forward to that, and we're looking forward to your TikTok. So enjoy and have a good trip.
All right.
All right, buddy. She's Amanda. I'm Billy, and we are
Moving Goalposts.